So local people in Hawaii love to eat, and one of their favorite things to eat is the plate lunch. I mean, you got your 2 scoops of rice, your mac salad, your main entree, and maybe a little bit of gravy on top. And having eaten hundreds, if not thousands, of plate lunches, I've come to realize that there's a real art into eating a plate lunch. So for example, with your first bite, do you eat rice first or do you eat the meat? I mean, you probably never thought about that, right? So in this video, I want to talk about the thought that goes into eating these plate lunches, because there's a lot going on here. And there's a lot of overthinking that went into this video, but at least it gave me an excuse to eat out. Now, while there are a lot of different plate lunches out there, I opted for my favorite, which happens to be the Zip Pack from Zippy's. Yes, I'm a brand ambassador, but even if I wasn't, this is still my favorite plate lunch, and it's what I'd recommend to most people, especially who don't know what they want to eat. I mean, really, you can't go wrong with Spam, fish, terry beef, and fried chicken, all on top of rice. I mean, everything is self-contained, no spilling, and if you don't want your Spam, I'll take them. So when it comes to eating plate lunches, I think it really comes down to just one thing: rice management. Whether you're eating a Zip Pack or chicken katsu or beef stew, loco moco, or a Hawaiian mixed plate, I think we take a look at the plate and we determine how much rice we need depending on how much meat that we have. I know you're probably thinking, Brada, what you talking about? I'm just hungry. I just want to stuff my mouth with ono food. You're right. But I do think that there is thought and evaluation going on here. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm a one meat, one rice scoop kind of guy. I just go back and forth, but I bet you there are people out there who maybe they take 2 or 3 bites of meat and then maybe 1 scoop of rice. We also have certain orders that we eat the food in, if you take a look at your plate lunch eating habits. And I especially notice this when it comes to something like the Zip Pack, because for me, it's always, and I mean always, Spam first, and then fish, and then terry beef, and then fried chicken. Maybe other people eat different meats at different times, and maybe they finish all the meats at one time and they continuously eat the rice, but not me. I eat one at a time and always in that order. And as I thought to myself why I do that, I think it's because, well, Spam is a comfort food. It kind of warms up my tongue and gets me all excited because it's something that I've eaten most of my life. And then fish second, because for me, the fish is the tastiest entree. It's the tastiest meat, and I don't eat a lot of breaded fish. And so to me, that's kind of like a specialty. When it comes to terry beef third, it's not really my favorite out of the 4 meats, but it does leave some terry sauce on the rice. And of course, finally is fried chicken. And I leave it last, I think, because it's the largest meat. And if I have any leftover rice, because it's so much meat, I can make sure to clean up all of my rice. Also, I don't want to be looking at a chicken bone the whole time while I'm finishing up my lunch. But that leftover rice thing is actually quite important. I mean, I don't know about you, but I hate it when I have leftover rice in my plate lunch. Psychologically, I feel like I didn't get enough meat, or at the very least, I didn't get my money's worth. And this balance is actually quite difficult. I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes on into what's included, because if you include too little rice, it feels like you didn't get your money's worth. But if you include too much rice, it makes the entrees on the dish actually look quite small. And how many times have we heard people complain, "Bruh, the plate lunch so small now, they only give a little bit meat." And again, the real art to me is not that you need 2 scoops rice or 3 scoops rice, or I don't know how many scoops rice sometimes when they pack it in the plate lunch. It's not so much the quantity of the rice. The real art comes into judging in that split second as you open up the plate lunch for the first time, how you're gonna pace eating the rice with the meat. Research indicates that we should be eating our vegetables first and then the protein, and save the carbohydrates for last. But seriously, you're gonna ask locals to eat all the meat first and then the rice second? Good luck with that. They're probably gonna laugh at you. And I know that if I had to do that, where I ate all the meat first and then saved the rice for last, I might have 2 bites of rice at the end and throw away the rest. So what does this all mean? I mean, really, we're just talking about plate lunches here, right? This is not fine dining cuisine. But because plate lunches are such a big part of local culture, I think it's important to talk about them. Not just what's inside them, but how we're consuming them. I came across a study that talked about food plating and how the impact of garnishes next to entrees seems to improve the eating experience or even the taste of the food. Now that's very interesting to me because I don't really pay attention to what the food looks like in so much as how it tastes and its nutritional value. And let's be honest here, when it comes to some of the plate lunches that we have, we're not that concerned about nutritional value. But when I do think about plate lunches and visual presentation, I think there's something to this. Albeit we don't have garnishes on plate lunches too often unless you count maybe some of that cabbage, or they used to have, you know, that little plastic fake green. But I do think that plate lunches have a unique look in and of themselves because they vary so much. I mean, you have a zip pack that is uniform with 4 pieces of meat on top of rice, but then you also have something like beef stew or loco moco, which is just covered in stew and gravy, and there's not really much aesthetic look to it. But I do think that the way a plate lunch looks impacts how it tastes and how we experience it as we're eating it. And have you ever tried taking the food out of a plate lunch and putting it on a normal plate and then eating it? It's just not the same. And I love plate lunches. And I miss the days when we used to have plate lunches for under $10. And I know one day I'm probably gonna be saying, gosh, I miss those days when plate lunches were under $20. But that is a completely different topic for another video. Whew, this video was hard to film because it's lunchtime and I'm getting hungry. But let me know what you think about plate lunches in the comments below. Thanks for watching and aloha.